Good morning. Here I am today to talk to you, third grade, about money, money, money. So, money is a nonfiction, true story, comprehensive study of the history of money that actually explores or tells us how the forms and uses of money have changed over time and how different cultures have handled the subject of money. It also illustrates the important role that money has played throughout history. It talks a lot about bartering. We talked about bartering last week with a new code for Anna. Remember that bartering means to trade goods or services without the use of money. Everybody gets something that they both want. So, money, 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 money. Money, money, money is written by Ruth Gross. It's illustrated by Dave Blanchetti. Now, as I show you the pictures, I want you to remember that Dave Blanchetti, he started drawing when he was only 8 years old. And now, I'm not sure how old he is now, but this story is pretty old. And it's also a true story. A long time ago, there was no money at all in the world. People didn't need money. Wow, people didn't need money? Interesting. So they got everything they needed by trading things. And the people who lived in Egypt many thousands of years ago traded things. And we already know where Egypt is. Egypt is in Africa, isn't it? Egypt, we've seen that on the map. They traded some of the things they didn't need for other things they did need. The people who lived in Greece many thousands of years ago traded things too. I guess everybody was trading all over the world. All over the world, people traded with each other. There is a special name for this kind of trading. The name is barter. So all of those people down below are trading different things. I have some extra corn. Could you use it? Thank you. Here's some beautiful cloth. Wow. Will you give me that jar of money if I give you some figs? Yes, I'll trade with you. Take the honey, but give me all of your figs. I'll give you this nice fat cow. Will you give me those knives? I wonder why he'll take my cow. He said he doesn't need a cow. Here's a cow, but I don't need a cow. But I'll take it anyhow and give you the knives. The people around here are always looking for nice fat cows. I'm sure I can trade this cow for something I want. Here are the knives. Very interesting communication between the two of them. Most of the time, barter was a good way of getting things. There was one trouble with barter, though. What happened when you had something to trade, but nobody wanted it? If nobody wanted the things you had, you were out of luck. But what if you had something that almost everybody wanted? Then it was easy to make a trade. In some places, a long time ago, you could always make a trade if you had a cow. In other places, a long time ago, you could always make a trade if you had pigs or goats or sheep. In all these places, the people use their animals the way we use money. So if you can say that cows and pigs and goats and sheep were an early kind of money. Animals weren't the only things people used for money a long time ago. In some places, people used salt for money. Everybody wanted salt for their food. In Rome, the soldiers were even paid in salt. Wow, salt was very useful during that time because even when I was on the farm living with my parents and we didn't have a refrigerator, we had to kill hogs. And my dad would always put salt inside of the hog to make the meat last longer. It's called preserving. Salt is in everything. It's actually hidden under something that we call sodium. So we have to really be mindful of having too much salt intake even today. In some places, people use little shells for money. They were called cowrie shells. You could put them on a string and wear them around your neck. They were supposed to be lucky. In some places, people use spades and shovels and knives for money. People needed these tools for their crops and animals. But there was one trouble with the things people use for money. One trouble. What if the cows or pigs or goats or sheep got sick? What if the salt got wet and washed away? What if the corn or grain got spoiled? What if the cowrie shells got smashed? What if the tools got broken? Then what could people use for money? Now look at these cowrie shells. They probably look pretty familiar to some of you right here. People wear them in their hair now. They wear them as bracelets, as necklaces, as well as earrings. I meant to actually bring mine out, but yeah, I have some earrings like this made of this shell. Very important, very interesting. Look at that pig. My money doesn't feel well. The pig is not feeling well. And after a while, people found better things to use for money. They began to use pieces of metal, copper and bronze and iron and gold and silver. A piece of metal wouldn't get sick. A piece of metal wouldn't wash away in the rain. A piece of metal wouldn't get spoiled. A piece of metal wouldn't get smashed. A piece of metal wouldn't get broken. And you could carry your metal around with you. You could make pots and tools and other useful things out of metal. You could make beautiful necklaces and rings and bracelets too. When people began to use metal for money, they used all shapes and sizes and shapes of metal. They used lumps of metal and chunks of metal and bars of metal. How much could you buy if you had a chunk of copper? The heavier your chunk of copper was, the more you could buy with it, of course. But how did you know how heavy it was? Well, you had to weigh it. When somebody gave you a piece of metal, you weighed it. When you gave somebody else a piece of metal, he weighed it. That way, nobody could cheat anybody. The metal was weighed every time a person gave another person some copper or bronze or iron or gold or silver. Weighing the metal was a lot of trouble for everybody. Just think what it would be like if the man in the grocery store had to weigh your money every time he sold you some cookies, every time he sold you some candy, or some markers, or if you went to GameStop or wherever you went to shop, that they had to weigh your money. Wow. See, there's a scale right there. Right there. How they weighed it. And here, we're going to read about this person next. At last, some man had a good idea. This is what they decided to do. A man would weigh a piece of metal once. He would put a mark on it to show how much it weighed. After that, the metal would not have to be weighed again. The piece of metal was now a coin, having value now, huh? Nickels, dimes, pennies, quarters. Oh, wow, okay. Half a dollar, a 50-cent piece, a $1 coin. They've made those coins now. So the piece of metal was now a coin. Like I read. Everybody could look at it and see how much it was worth. One day, almost 3,000 years ago, the king of a country called Lydia made a new law. The king said that the people of Lydia were not allowed to weigh their own metal and mark it anymore. The king's men were the only ones who had the right to make metal into coins. Interesting. The king's money was the first real money that people had. We say it was the first real money because it was made by the government. Just like our money is made today. Our money is made by the government today. In Lydia, it was against the law to make your own money. Any man who tried would get into trouble. The king of Lydia made his coins out of gold and silver. The coins looked like lumpy buttons. Soon the government of other countries were making coins too. Everybody thought it was a good idea and they started making coins as well. So those are the coins from Greece and Lydia. There's Lydia's coin right there. And at the top are the coins from Greece. And we already know how the coins look here in America, in the United States. Coins made in Greece a long time ago look something like, just like I said, like our pennies and nickels and dimes, only they were thicker and not quite round. Some of the coins made in Rome did not look like our coins at all. This coin was bigger than a slice of bread. Oh my God. This coin weighed more than a pound. Before long, many more countries had their own metal coins. Now look at this coin, third grade here. This coin almost has the form and the shape of paper money. See how long it is? I guess that's probably why what eventually ended up happening. Okay. Let's stop now to see what we know about money. This is what we know. In the very beginning, before there was any money at all, people just traded with each other. Later on, animals were money. Salt was money. Corn and grain and shells and tools were money too. After a while, pieces of metal were money. And then people began to make their pieces of metal into coins. The first real money was made by the government of a country called Lydia. Other governments made money for their people after that. People feel safer when the government is in charge of making the money they use. These things, of course, did not happen in a day. They took a long time to happen, and they happened at different times in different places. People in some parts of the world were still using cows for money when people in other parts of the world were using metal coins. About 350 years ago, some people from England came to live in America. They came to settle in what we call colonies, and that was the first 13 original colonies. And those were colonies that were like made into states later. When they lived in England, they used metal coins, but when they came to America, they did not bring many coins with them. And the King of England wouldn't let anyone make coins in the American colonies. They were controlling the people that had come over from England into America. They wanted to tell them what to do. Even though they had traveled way across the sea, the ocean, they were still under the control of England. So the settlers didn't have much money, but they found ways to get things they needed. What do you think they did? They went back to what they knew. They started to trade with each other. So we are often told that when the settlers came, there was no one here on the land, but I'm here to tell you that later on, we discovered that there were people here. They were called Native Americans or Indians. So they traded with each other. They used corn for money and they used cows for money. They used beaver skins for money and they used tobacco for money. They used fish and peas and wheat for money and they used nails and bullets for money. They even used these things to pay their bills and to pay their taxes. People almost always tried to pay their taxes with the skinniest cows they had. Wow, look at this cow. Look how skinny that cow is. Wow, and he says, I've come to pay my taxes. Here's my cow. Huh? You call that a cow? Funny. In many of the American colonies, the settlers used little beads made from shells. The shell beads were called wampum. Wampum was what the Indians used for money. 6 white beads were worth a penny. Black beads were worth twice as much as white beads. If you had wampum, you could buy beaver skins from the Indians. You could also buy things from other settlers. The Indians made wampum out of clam shells and periwinkle shells. They strung the wampum beads on thin strips of deer hide. The Indians made beautiful belts and bracelets out of wampum too. The settlers used French coins and Dutch coins and English coins and Spanish coins. They got some of the coins by selling fish and flour and lumber and furs to other countries. And they got some of the coins from pirates. The pirates came to buy food for themselves and tar and pitch and turpentine for their ships. Turpentine, I believe, was one of your words to look up for vocabulary. So they paid the settlers with the gold and silver coins they took from other ships at sea. So basically, they were fighting back and forth, and they were riding, and taking things. So again and again, the settlers asked the King of England to let them make their own money. Every time they asked the king said, nope. He said it was against the law for the settlers in the colonies to make their own money. The settlers did not like the king's law about money. They did not like the other laws the kings made for them. They decided that they did not want the King of England to make any of their laws. They wanted to make their own laws. So what did they do? They had a fight. They had a war with England, and they won. The colonies won. It was called the American Revolution. That was about 200 years ago. After the American Revolution, the colonies did not belong to England anymore. They were no longer colonies. They were called states. They were the United States of America. I think it was about 13 states at that time. And California was not a part of the early colonies or states for that matter. They joined later. Some people in the United States have their own colonies. The colonies were made by the new government. This is what two of the coins look like. An eagle, look at this eagle right here. It was worth $10 and a half cent. A half cent was made of copper. So that's different now because they reversed it. Because now you can buy a $10 coin. They have like a nickel, a penny, a nickel, a dime, a quarter, a $50, and a dollar coin. And that is made of what? Silver, okay? And the pennies sometimes look like gold, but they aren't. This coin was made of gold. The United States government made the coins, but for a long time, it let the banks make the paper money. Now the government makes all of the paper money. So here's a war. They're back and forth fighting. No guns, the drama. Okay. So the United States, now the government makes all of our money, all of our coins and all of our paper money. So they have presidents on money now too. They have the presidents of the United States. And I understand too, even though I haven't seen it, that Harriet Tubman is now on the $20 bill. I haven't seen that yet though. If anybody else tries to make coins or paper money, they get into trouble. The United States was not the first country to use paper money. People in China used paper money long before any settlers came to America. China was ruled by an emperor, and only the emperor's men could make the paper money. If anybody else tried to make paper money, they would be in trouble. Money, it comes in very handy. So yeah, money does come in handy, and the Bible talks about money. The Bible says that money answers all things, but also the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. God does not want us to get so caught up in money that we would do any and everything in order to get money. Money meets our needs. It does answer the things that we need, but it's not everything that we need. We need God, third grade. We all need God. So we use money to buy ice cream cones, to go to the cafe, and we'll be going back to the cafe. We'll be going to Walmart. We'll be going to Target. We'll be going to Justice. We'll be going to all the stores that you love to go to. We just have to wait and be patient at this particular time. So we use it to buy birthday presents for our friends. Wow. So, and we use it to also, I use money to buy something out of here, the sun jar. Right, exactly. So money serves its purpose. Grown-ups use coins and paper money too. But they also use checks. Some people don't use checks anymore, but I'm old school. I still use checks. And they use credit cards. Okay, credit cards will get you into a lot of trouble. That would be another lesson that I could talk to you about. And people really don't generally talk to young people about credit cards. But it's important to know that when you use credit cards, that means that you are borrowing from somebody to pay right now, but you're going to pay for that, what do you call it? You're going to pay for that opportunity to actually use some money right now, but you have to pay more later for using it. Okay, so checks and credit cards are things that people can use instead of money the government makes. A check is like a little letter to the bank. It says, okay, I'm going to write you a check, and Kylie, you could take this check for $9 to the bank to cash and put it in your savings account because it's your birthday coming up on Thursday. It tells the bank to give some of your money to someone, but you can only use a check if you have money in the bank. A lot of times people write checks and they don't have money in the bank, and we know that's called stealing, and then you'll get into a lot of trouble. A credit card, once again, is something people use when they want to pay later. Many people use a credit card to buy gas for their cars. Then they don't have to pay for the gas right away. Some people think they're getting things free when they use a credit card, but that isn't true at all. Even with a credit card, you have to pay for the things you buy, and you pay extra as well if you don't pay it off right away. Now, we know some of the things we use for money today. We use money for money. Money, money, money. We use checks. We use credit cards, but even today, some people still use barter, especially children. This is our story, our true story, nonfiction about money, money, money. Dave, he says that drawing was, Dave Blanchetti, he said that drawing was always his favorite thing to do. He said he doesn't remember ever being without a pencil in his hand. Beginning at age 8, he began illustrating stories that his brother wrote. Now I want you to see that. Right. Starting at age 8, God put the gift of drawing in him, and he continued to do what he loved. God has already put your gift inside of you. Ask God to perfect your gift and help you to do what it is that you need to do, and then you will get your money, money, money.